Hello, my name's Bill Tiddleman, and I'm a straight white man who lives in Japan teaching English. And I'm sorry, folks, I got some bad news for you. We had a Halloween party the other day at the school I teach at, and so I'm just dressed up in my costume, waiting on the kids to show up. And this boy comes in wearing a Spider-Man costume, and I say, "Oh wow, that's really cool," you know. I like the Spider-Man, I like the costume. It's a nice costume for a kid to wear for Halloween. But he comes up to me and he's like, Billy Sensei, look at me. I'm Spider-Man." And that's when I noticed it wasn't a white boy in the costume. It was a Chinese kid. So I got all these feelings. Are we going to just allow Chinese kids to wear culturally appropriated costumes to a Halloween party? It was just too much for me to handle. Like, Spider-Man is clearly a white man, but this Chinese boy, happy as a clam, was wearing it willy-nilly, just as if that's okay. So I tell him, "Listen, son, you can't be wearing this costume. It's cultural appropriation. You're Chinese. You're not white. Spider-Man is white. Think of Peter Parker. We had Tobey Maguire, a white man. We had Andrew Garfield, a white man. We had Tom Holland, a white man. None of these are little Chinese boys. So does he think that it's appropriate to appropriate my culture?" So while I'm struggling to explain to this boy of maybe 8 years old why what he's doing is highly inappropriate, a girl comes in and she's also just elated to be like a little girl and have fun and come to this fun party. And she comes in and she's like, "Look at me, Billy Sensei, look at me." So I'm like, okay, maybe if I turn away from the problem, just look away, it'll go away. And I look over at this girl who's Japanese, and she's wearing a Minnie Mouse costume. And so this is just lighting fires under my stove. I'm just fuming. I'm steaming. I don't know how to deal with this, because Minnie Mouse is made by Walt Disney, who is not Japanese. He is white. And then she is cultural appropriating this iconic American character. And she's just screaming, "Look at me, I'm so happy. I get to be my favorite character, Minnie Mouse. I get to show off my cool costume at this fun party." So I'm storming over there, and she's skipping over to me, and I'm trying to explain to her, "Look, little lady, this is not your culture. You get Ghibli. Ghibli is the Japanese equivalent of Disney. Can't you just be happy with that?" So she's like, "But I like Disney." And then her friend, who is a little white kid, they're in the same class, they're best friends, and she comes over, and she's wearing Kiki's Delivery Service costume, and I just don't know how I feel about this, because she is not Japanese, she's white, because her mother is Canadian and her father is British, but she was born in Japan, so does that count? Is it only the skin that matters for cultural appropriation, or is it where you're born? Because she's been raised in this Japanese culture, but she's also been raised by her white-skinned parents. So I just have the two of them switch. I tell them, "Listen, this is going to be much easier for everybody if you just switch costumes. So you can look the white one, you can be the Japanese one. This is going to be much better." And they're like, "But no, we like these characters. We just want to dress up as our favorite characters and have a good time at the party." And I say, "Well, let me talk to the manager about this because I don't know if it's okay or not. And the manager's dressed up as a sushi chef, which is fine because she's Japanese. So clearly, no cultural appropriation has occurred here. Uh, but that got me wondering. Back in America, we would go to these sushi restaurants, and you would talk to the chefs, and you would say, oishi desu ne. And they would just say, I'm Vietnamese, so I don't know what that means. You can just say thank you if you want. And, oh, I don't know, is that okay too? Because clearly they're Asian, so if you're just caring about the skin color and you don't care about the actual culture, then it should be fine. But if you care because clearly they're different because they're different countries, not a whole lot of similarities between the two, then you should really care about the cultural appropriation because there are Vietnamese people selling Japanese food in America. I don't know how that works. So, anywho, I talked to the manager and she says, "What the heck are you talking about? Just let them wear the costumes. It's not a big deal. Nobody cares." So that's why I'm turning to YouTube to discuss this harrowing incident that happened to me at the kids' Halloween party. I'm just hoping maybe some of the listeners can tell me how much you're supposed to make people feel bad about wanting to enjoy another culture. I'm wondering if you're supposed to make kids cry to show that what they're doing is unacceptable, and the fact that they want to wear a costume to a Halloween party, which is from another culture anyway, so I don't know why this is allowed in the first place. Everyone should just stick to their local area, really, and never consider anyone else's thoughts or beliefs or culture or even just even anything about any place other than where they were born. But yeah, I just want maybe you can leave some comments on this whole incident. That'd be really helpful. Bye.